You see, my dear friend, the world is full of gestures, full of those who laugh at the misfortune of others, those who find joy in the pain they inflict. But what they don't realize, what they fail to comprehend, in their infinite arrogance, is that they are sowing seeds in a field they do not own. They are building a foundation upon the very soil that will one day rise up and tear down everything they have built. They fail to understand that the world does not forget the injustices done to others. They think their actions go unnoticed, as if the universe is blind and deaf to their cruelty. But the truth is far darker than they could ever imagine. Karma is not a mere abstract concept. It is a force that weaves its way through the fabric of existence, slowly, silently, with deliberate precision. It watches and it waits. For every act of malice, every word of spite, every tear shed in pain and suffering, karma takes note. It does not care for the fleeting satisfaction of the oppressor who thinks they are above consequence. No, it cares only for the truth that the scales of justice are always in motion. They are always balanced, even when we do not see it. The universe has a way of righting the wrongs we commit. It has a way of ensuring that what we put out into the world will one day find its way back to us. It has a way of making sure that those who sow destruction will one day be the victims of their own actions. And so we find those who have caused harm to others, those who have rejoiced in cruelty and reveled in causing pain. We find them at the mercy of the very force they so callously mocked. They may have thought themselves untouchable. They may have believed that their wealth, their power, their influence would protect them from the inevitable repercussions of their actions. But they were wrong. No one is invincible in the eyes of karma. No one can escape its reach, no matter how far they run, no matter how deep they hide. Look closely, and you will see it happening all around you. You will see those who once held power, now brought low by the very same forces they once abused, those who once laughed at the misery of others, now choking on the poison they themselves brewed. Karma does not care for your status. It does not care for your title. It does not care for the illusion of safety you have constructed for yourself. It only cares about the energy you put into the world. Karma is patient. It bides its time. It waits for the perfect moment to strike, when the ground beneath you seems most solid, when the light of success shines brightest. That is when karma will rise up and remind you of the darkness you have left in your wake. You can run, you can hide, you can bury your past, but it will always find you. Because karma is not about revenge. It is not about spite. It is about balance. It is about ensuring that no one escapes the consequences of their actions, no matter how long it takes. The universe does not forget. It remembers every insult, every betrayal, every broken heart, every shattered dream, every wrong done to those who could not defend themselves. And when the time is right, it will make sure that those who have caused harm feel the weight of their actions pressing down on them. You see, my dear friend, karma is not some distant force. It is not something that operates in the background of life, waiting for a moment to pounce. No, it is an ever-present force that flows through everything that happens in this world. It is the invisible thread that connects all our actions to their consequences, and it is always working. It is always moving, even when we cannot see it. So when you see those who have wronged others, those who have used their power to crush the weak, when you see them rising high, when you see them basking in the fruits of their malice, do not despair. Do not feel hopeless, for their time will come, their karma will find them. You may not see it in the moment, you may not witness the collapse of their empire, but know that it is coming just as surely as the night follows the day. Because no matter how much they try to outrun it, no matter how much they try to bury their past, it will find them, and when it does, it will be merciless. Karma does not forget, and it does not forgive. It simply delivers what is owed. It is the great equalizer, the final arbiter of justice in a world that often seems unjust. It does not care about the excuses we make. It does not care about the justifications we give for our actions. It only cares about the truth. And the truth is that every action has consequences. Every choice has a price. Those who choose to harm others, who choose to bring suffering into the world, will one day have to face the cost of their actions. But let us not be fooled into thinking that karma is always a swift and sudden force. Sometimes it works in ways that are far more subtle. Sometimes it takes years, decades, even lifetimes for the consequences of one's actions to fully unfold. But rest assured, they will unfold. No one escapes the web of cause and effect. No one can outrun the shadow of their own deeds. So while the wicked may seem to prosper, while the cruel may seem to walk free, while the arrogant may bask in their illusion of invincibility, know this karma is always watching, and it is always waiting. When it finally strikes, it will not be with the anger of revenge. It will not be with the bitterness of hatred. It will be with the cold, indifferent certainty of nature itself. It will come without warning, and it will come without mercy, and it will remind those who have harmed others that no one is above the natural laws that govern our existence. For every action has an equal and opposite reaction, and those who believe they are exempt from this law are merely fooling themselves. So take heart, my friend. When you see those who have wronged you, those who have caused you pain and suffering, do not seek revenge. Do not allow yourself to be consumed by anger or hatred, for you do not need to lift a finger. Karma will do the work for you. All you need to do is watch and wait, and know that in time, those who have hurt you will face the consequences of their own actions. They will reap what they have sown, and they will learn too late that there is no escaping the inevitable. And when that moment comes, when they are faced with the consequences of their own cruelty, when they are brought low by the very forces they thought they could control, remember this: it is not your victory, it is not your triumph, it is simply the way of the world, the way of karma, the way of justice. For in the end, we are all subject to the same forces, we are all bound by the same laws, and no one, no matter how powerful or wealthy or influential, can escape the reckoning that is due to them. So let them have their moment of glory. Let them bask in the fleeting light of their ill-gotten success, for they are already walking the path of their own destruction. They are already on the road to ruin. They just do not see it yet. They think they are untouchable. They think they are beyond the reach of the consequences of their actions. But the truth is, they are already being consumed by their own darkness, and when the time comes, karma will strike, and they will know the full weight of their deeds. In the end, my friend, remember, this karma does not seek vengeance. It seeks balance. It seeks justice, and it will always find its way. You cannot hide from it. You cannot run from it. You cannot escape it. It is the natural law that governs all things, and it will not be denied. So take comfort in the knowledge that those who have wronged you will one day be made to pay for their actions, and that the scales of justice will always be balanced, no matter how long it takes. Karma is always watching, and it is always waiting to make its move. It does not care for the superficial things that humans often cling to, the titles, the wealth, the power, or the illusion of control. It does not judge by what is seen on the surface. It looks deeper into the very core of a person's actions and intentions. It is the reflection of a truth too powerful to ignore, that everything we do, whether good or bad, sends ripples through the world, and eventually, those ripples return to us. Those who deceive themselves into thinking They can escape the consequences of their actions, are living in a false reality. They may appear to be immune, impervious to the world's laws, but karma is not fooled. It does not care if someone believes themselves to be untouchable. It does not care if they hide behind wealth or power or manipulation. Karma does not play favorites, and it does not act on a schedule. It moves when it is time, and when it does so with unwavering certainty. You see, my friend, the universe has a delicate balance, one that cannot be disrupted for long. Every time an individual commits a wrong, whether through an act of betrayal, manipulation, cruelty, or injustice, that wrong creates a disturbance in the natural order. It may seem small at first, like a tiny ripple across a vast ocean, but in time, those ripples grow, magnifying the energy that was put into the world. It does not go unnoticed. The world may not always appear just. We may watch in disbelief as those who seem so undeserving prosper, while the innocent and virtuous suffer. But do not be deceived into thinking that karma is blind or slow. It may appear to be delayed, as though the universe is taking its time. But remember, time is a mere construct. What matters is not when karma comes, but that it always does. Imagine, if you will, someone who has spent their life inflicting pain on others. Perhaps they have manipulated the system to gain wealth, or used their power to crush the vulnerable beneath their boot. They may believe that their actions go unnoticed, or that their dominance gives them the right to take advantage of those beneath them. But they forget one thing: the world is interconnected, and the very force that has allowed them to rise is the same force that will bring them down. Karma does not forget, and when it strikes, it is not out of revenge, but to restore balance. It does not need your approval or your understanding. It does not need an apology. It simply gives what is owed. You may not see it coming, and you may not understand how it will unfold, but when the time is right, karma will make its presence known. It could take the form of a fall from grace, a loss of everything they once held dear. It could be a moment of clarity where their own actions come back to haunt them. The universe has many ways of delivering its justice. Karma is not concerned with how much someone tries to hide their wrongs. They can put on the face of righteousness. They can dress themselves in the trappings of virtue, but the truth is not so easily concealed. No mask can hide the truth of one's actions for long. It may take years, perhaps even decades, but the truth always comes out, and when it does, karma will be there, waiting for its moment to return the energy that was once sent into the world. Consider for a moment the idea of cause and effect. Every action has a consequence, whether immediate or delayed. Every word spoken, every choice made, creates an effect that ripples outward. When we act with kindness, we create a positive force in the world, and that force, in turn, is returned to us. When we choose cruelty, when we seek to harm others, that energy also finds its way back to us, often when we least expect it. Those who act out of selfishness or malice often fail to realize that their actions will not be without cost. They may feel invincible for a time, believing that their success is the result of their own brilliance, that they have outsmarted the system, outmaneuvered those who stand in their way. But what they fail to grasp is that the system is far larger than they could ever comprehend, and the laws of the universe do not operate in their favor. They are simply players in a much larger game, and when karma calls for a reckoning, there is no escaping it. Karma often comes when a person is at their highest, when they are basking in the glow of their success, believing that they are untouchable. This is the moment that karma strikes hardest, for it is then that the fall is greatest. It may not come in the form of a scandal or a public shaming. Sometimes karma works in subtler ways, through the quiet unraveling of one's life, through the breakdown of relationships, through the slow and inevitable erosion of the foundations they have so carefully built. It may come in the form of isolation, as those who once supported them turn their backs. It may come in the form of a broken heart, as they are betrayed by those they once trusted. Or it may come in the form of a deep internal unraveling, where the individual is forced to confront the darkness they have ignored for so long. Karma does not need to be swift or dramatic. Sometimes it works in the background, quietly waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. In fact, the longer it takes for karma to strike, the more devastating it can be. The delay gives the individual a false sense of security, a false sense that they have escaped their past actions. But in truth, karma is simply biding its time, waiting for the moment when it can return the energy in a way that will make the individual fully understand the cost of their actions. It is important to remember that karma does not operate based on the ideas of fairness that humans often hold. The idea of what is fair or just is deeply subjective. Karma does not look at what is deserved or undeserved in the way that humans do. It simply takes what was given and returns it in kind. The universe is not concerned with whether we think someone deserves their fate. It simply ensures that those who sow negativity when karma strikes, it does so with the precision of a force of nature. It is not petty, nor is it vengeful. It is simply the inevitable consequence of what has been set into motion. It is like a seed planted in the dark soil, waiting to grow and eventually sprout in the form of consequences. Those who have caused pain will one day feel the weight of that pain pressing down on them, whether through their own suffering or through the suffering of those around them. In the end, no one can escape their own darkness. For those who feel despair in the face of the injustice they see in the world, remember this: karma is a silent, patient force. It may take time. It may not always unfold in ways that we understand, but it always arrives in the end. The ones who have caused you pain, the ones who have inflicted harm upon you, they will one day face the very consequences they thought they could outrun. Karma does not forget. It does not overlook. It will find them, and when it does, it will be a reckoning that no one can deny. So do not waste your energy on hatred, on seeking revenge. The universe will take care of that. Your only responsibility is to live your life with integrity, to act in ways that honor the truth, and to be kind to others. For the force that governs the universe is one of balance, and it will restore what has been broken, even if you cannot see it happening. Karma will strike when it is time, and it will always find its mark. You see, karma is not a force that operates according to human timelines, nor is it bound by human expectations. It does not adhere to a clock, nor does it rush to meet deadlines. It is not a creature of urgency, nor does it concern itself with the pace at which the world turns. It moves in its own time, in its own way, and it never misses its target. The notion that someone can escape it is an illusion, one that can be as comforting as it is dangerous. For those who live their lives believing that they are beyond the reach of karma, believing they can navigate the world through manipulation, deceit, and selfishness, they are simply blind to the inevitable truth that no one can outrun the consequences of their actions forever. Karma knows no boundaries. It doesn't care about the barriers we erect in our lives, the walls of pride, the shields of arrogance, or the masks of power that some choose to wear. It is not intimidated by wealth, nor does it care for status. Karma is a force that is far beyond human comprehension. It operates in the background, quietly, patiently, while we go about our daily lives, accumulating both good and bad deeds without realizing the toll it takes on the fabric of the universe. It is a force that reminds us that for every action There is an equal and opposite reaction. We cannot escape it. It is inescapable. And when it finally arrives, it will strike with precision, with a truth that cannot be denied. Those who believe that they can live their lives without consequence often make a fatal mistake. They believe that their actions can be buried under the weight of their success, that they can hide their wrongdoings behind the facade of wealth or popularity. But karma sees everything. It sees the intentions behind every action, the motivations behind every decision. It sees the lies we tell, the manipulation we use to control others, the cruelty we inflict upon those who cannot fight back. Karma is watching, always. It is recording every moment, every thought, every decision, and it is waiting, biding its time for the moment when it will return the energy that was sent out into the world. And when karma strikes, it does so with the weight of inevitability. It is not quick or rash, nor is it designed to satisfy a fleeting desire for revenge. It is a force of nature, a force that cannot be ignored. The consequences that come from karma are often not immediate. Sometimes they take years to unfold, but when they do, they strike with an impact that is often far more devastating than anyone could have imagined. It is not something that can be dismissed or explained away with excuses. It is a reckoning that will leave those who have harmed others in a state of helplessness, faced with the consequences of their own actions. Consider, if you will, those who have manipulated others for their own gain, those who have used their power to crush those weaker than themselves, who have reveled in the misery of others. Perhaps they believe they are immune to the consequences of their actions, believing that their wealth, status, or influence will protect them from the reach of karma. But the truth is that karma does not care about such things. Karma does not need wealth to deliver its judgment. It needs only the energy of the wrongdoer's actions. And when that energy is released into the world, it will return to the one who sent it, often in a way that they cannot even comprehend. Karma is not a linear force. It does not simply operate in a straightforward manner where wrongdoers are immediately punished and those who act kindly are immediately rewarded. No, karma is far more complex than that. It works in ways that we may not always understand, in ways that may seem contradictory at first. But one thing is certain, it always finds its mark. It always catches up with those who attempt to evade its reach. And when it does, the consequences are often far more profound than anyone could anticipate. Think about it for a moment. What happens to someone who has built their entire life on deception? What happens to someone who has crushed others underfoot to get ahead, who has taken advantage of the vulnerable, who has betrayed the trust of friends and family alike? At first, they may seem to thrive. They may gain wealth, power, recognition. The world may even seem to reward them for their cruelty, for their selfishness. But deep down, they cannot escape the truth. They cannot escape the dark energy they have released into the world. And sooner or later, that energy will come back to them. Sometimes, it arrives in the form of a downfall that is visible to the world. It may come in the form of scandal, of lost respect, of a shattered reputation. But sometimes, it comes in subtler ways, as a quiet unraveling. Perhaps their relationships crumble. Perhaps they lose the trust of those closest to them. Perhaps they begin to feel a deep inner emptiness, a sense of despair that cannot be filled with material success or external validation. In the end, karma is not simply about external consequences. It is about the internal reckoning that occurs when one is forced to confront the true cost of their actions. And when it happens, it is often too late to reverse the damage. But here is the truth that many fail to understand. Karma does not act out of revenge. It does not harbor anger or bitterness toward those who have caused harm. It simply operates on the law of cause and effect. It is not personal. It is a force that ensures balance in the universe, a force that guarantees that the negative energy you put out into the world will eventually return to you. It is a guarantee, an unshakable law of the universe that cannot be bent or ignored. Those who have inflicted pain upon others may believe that they have escaped, that their actions will never be exposed, that they will continue to live their lives without consequence. But karma sees all. It knows the truth. It waits for the moment when the mask slips, when the illusion of control is shattered, and when the wrongdoer is forced to confront the reality of their actions. And when that moment comes, it will not be kind. It will not be gentle. It will be the full force of the universe returning to restore balance. Karma is not a fleeting force. It is a constant presence. It is not something that comes and goes. It is always in motion, always observing, always calculating. And in its own time, it will strike. It may not happen when you expect it. It may not happen in the way you think it will, but it will happen. And when it does, it will be inescapable. There is no point in resisting karma. There is no point in trying to outrun it. It is not something that can be avoided or ignored. For those who have caused harm to others, for those who have walked a path of selfishness and cruelty, karma will come for them. It will find them, just as surely as the sun rises in the morning. And when it does, it will remind them that no one, no matter how powerful or wealthy or influential, is exempt from the laws of the universe. Everyone must pay the price for their actions. But let us not mistake karma for a desire for revenge. It is not about seeking vengeance, for vengeance is a destructive force that only perpetuates more harm. Karma is about balance. It is about ensuring that the world is restored to its rightful order. It is about making sure that no one escapes the consequences of their choices, whether they are good or bad. It is a force that serves the greater good, ensuring that the world remains in harmony, even when individuals try to disrupt that harmony. So, my friend, as you watch the world unfold around you, do not despair. Do not lose hope in the face of injustice or cruelty, for karma is always watching, and it is always waiting to make its move. It may take time, but when it arrives, it will always find its mark. And when it does, it will bring about the balance that is necessary to restore the order that was disrupted. There is no escaping it. There is no outrunning it. In the end, karma will come for everyone, and it will always find its mark. In the end, my friend, karma is an undeniable force that governs the balance of the universe. It may be patient, but it is relentless. No one can escape its reach, no matter how they try to mask their wrongdoings or manipulate their surroundings. For every action, there is a consequence, and when karma comes, it will always find its mark. It restores the order that is disrupted and ensures that no one is exempt from the energy they put into the world. So remember this: live with integrity, for the truth always catches up, and karma will always deliver what is owed.